This week in Puerto Rican news, here's what you need to know. On Saturday, March 28, thousands upon thousands of Puerto Ricans marched to the governor's residence, La Fortaleza, stopping by El Capitolio to leave those in power a message, one that leaves little room for interpretation. Esencia No Va. Now, if you didn't know, these thousands of people were marching down the streets of Viejo San Juan because they are looking to protect the coasts from corporate looting and the predatory practices that are being pushed onto the Puerto Rican people by both foreign investors as well as the Puerto Rican government. And as of this morning, while some media did cover it, I have not seen the major Puerto Rican networks yet mention this march. Of course, because the media isn't here to report it, but only peddle the lies of a colonial puppet government. In the end, it's very simple. You're either here to support El Pueblo or you're here to support the narrative of multimillionaires that are coming and trying to replace Puerto Ricans. Now, there were over 65 organizations involved that came from all over the island, and each of them had their own struggles that they're fighting, but they still showed up to support. Of course, we also saw artists, media personalities, and others coming out to support people like Cani Garcia, BJ Sinzuela, and Maria Celeste. The movement is still growing, and what we do after the march is just as important as what we did before. In other news, islanders went home that same day to a major scandal. Apparently, the Puerto Rican national anthem was sung incorrectly at the basketball game by none other than Rainao, a Santurce-born artist. The version that Rainao sang was an older version, a version that had been suppressed, a version that had been composed by a woman named Lola de Tio. And that version was actually calling out another colonizer, the original one, Spain. Despierta de ese sueño, que es hora de luchar, que salvar a la patria es deber del corazón. But these lyrics connect to current struggles as well, from displacement to colonialism, telling people to rise up against oppressive laws. When we hear the word despierta, we're not just hearing words from a distant past. We're hearing a call to action spoken furiously into a reality that still exists today. And while Rainao was brilliantly singing a song that filled us all with pride, the university students here are also standing up and making us proud. They're standing up against the president of La UPR, Zaira Jordan. And of course, Zaira is over here acting like a tyrant instead of someone in charge of one of the most critical institutions in this country. Now, based on what you're about to hear, it's fair to say that this person is causing chaos with her ineptitude. Last week, she fired 5 rectores. These are academic leaders from 5 different pueblos here in Puerto Rico: Mayagüez, Aguadilla, Ponce, Bayamón, and Rio Piedras. In response, the students went on strike. And it's important to know this because these moves feel politically motivated. Now, the president has been in the hot seat for a while because of her lack of experience in higher education. And the removal of these rectores felt abrupt and lacked transparency, which begs the question whether there is a politically motivated agenda. Now, the reason a lot of people are concerned is because she also worked on Jennifer Gonzalez's election campaign. So what a coincidence that she would end up with a role that she doesn't have experience in. Well, it's pretty clear that these positions aren't earned. They're handed out to people who are loyal to extraction and exploitation. Now, both the university students and others are making serious claims about the lack of leadership, lack of transparency, the barriers, the communication issues with this president. And it's clear that Puerto Ricans are very tired of asking and demanding of their government and their institutions to put them before profit, which is why Rainao's rendition of the song is so relevant. The people here, the university students, don't want laws that oppress people. They don't want institutions that don't listen to communities. And we're going to continue to fight against that. And finally, it's important to talk about Vieques and what's happening there. The transportation catastrophe that is unfolding right now. Years ago, the government privatized this essential service, and now Puerto Ricans on the island are going to see a doubling of the fare price. While Vieques residents aren't going to see such a high price, it's still going to affect Puerto Ricans and other essential services critical for the people on the island. They are effectively making a trip to Vieques by local Puerto Ricans a luxury that most people won't be able to afford. Now here's what's important to know. The company that owns the ferry had filed for bankruptcy, and instead of taking responsibility, they have handed off the burden to the public. So they're essentially telling Puerto Ricans that we have to cover the consequences of their mismanagement. The solution isn't actually complicated. A service that's funded by public dollars should serve the public. But once again, the people are going to have to remind the government, because when these essential services are handed off to private companies, it's the communities who pay the price for these predatory behaviors and tactics. The people of Vieques don't even have a hospital, thanks to the government's lack of action. I oppose this fare hike, and so should you. And here's how you can help. This is the company website. This is their Instagram. Public pressure works. And this weekend was a clear example of that. Now that's all the news I have for you today, but stay tuned because there will always be more. And here's how you can support my work.